We're rolling, baby. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. I'm back in London, baby. It's me, Mary, the Union Affairs Officer. As I'm sure you've no doubt seen, I've been in COP28 for the past week, and now I'm back to give you some reflections. So if you didn't know what COP28 is, basically it's the biggest climate change conference in the world. It happens once a year. This is the 28th one, hence COP28. COP stands for the Conference of Parties. It's held by the UN. And everyone from major politicians to policymakers to universities to researchers to NGOs and charities tends to go each year. Those groups all together form part of the blue zone, where only those groups can access. But there are also public green zone areas, so the public can come and learn about climate change and climate action. It's pretty cool. I kind of wanted to reflect on how I'm feeling now I'm back and how I was feeling while I was at COP. I think I did go to Dubai pretty pessimistic. I went through a whole character arc while I was there, and I tell you what, the pessimism did rise for a strong bit. Pretty much peaked when the COP president said there's no science to back phasing out of fossil fuels as going towards a sustainable future and sustainable development. Yeah, no, that bit did really piss me off, I think. Especially now that I'm back and we're hearing more news about the fact that phasing out of fossil fuels entirely has been removed from negotiations. That's really, frankly, it's really disappointing. And it's all naturally because I'm back. I went away and things went terribly. I'm kidding. I don't think it's healthy to be lingering too much on that. Yes, the world leaders are making some terrible decisions right now, but we shouldn't wallow in that, and we shouldn't let that go to apathy, because we have so much reason to be so hopeful, as I learned on the rest of my trip. There are so many incredible young leaders across the world who were there at COP talking about everything from how climate change is affecting their daily lives, their daily communities, their homes, to the intersections it has with education, with health, with finance, with cities, and it was fascinating. The best talks and panels and discussions I went to they were the ones with young people right at the centre, where it was really clear that a lot of thought had gone into how do we meaningfully engage young people and students in this? How do we make sure their voice is actually listened to and considered? As an example, I went to an amazing one held by the Australian Pavilion, which was an initiative where they made a network of young activists and artists and writers from not only Australia, but also various island nations in the Pacific, and let them work together on a big creative journal together. And they had a panel full of the people that contributed to that. And it was just so inspiring to see a panel organised entirely by young people, young creatives, about the climate crisis, talking about what matters to them on such a global stage. And there were so many different opportunities like that. Where youth engagement is going well at COP, it's going really well. And not only that, they're also thinking about which young people are in the room and which ones are talking. I went to a great talk, for example, about health and mental health and climate change and how they intersect. And because they had encouraged lots of young leaders from across the world, including young leaders from the global south to attend, they had so many varied voices. The conversation started on eco-anxiety, and that conversation lasted 2 minutes. Because in fact, the effect of climate change on mental health is so much more wide-ranging. And we got to hear about the intersections of mental health, climate change, and people with disabilities, because they had encouraged people with disabilities to go. And we had 2 amazing young leaders from Youngo, which is the youth kind of organisation, representative organisation for the UN. There's so many reasons to be so hopeful and so positive. That's what I'm trying to remind myself now that I'm back and have to be doing union affairs stuff again. As much as there's a small handful of leaders and politicians who are saying really terrible stuff, there were 80,000 other people at that conference who are all working in tandem all following the same path to fight climate change, and we can't ignore those voices. Personally, from this, for the student body, we need to grasp onto that hope a bit. We need to, in our messages about climate change and climate action, when we're encouraging you guys to get involved in things, we need to not have the kind of David Attenborough BBC like documentary approach where we show you the melting icebergs and we show you the cute adorable penguins and go, well, there's no home for them anymore because the glaciers are melted, roll credits. We can't do that. We need to be action oriented. We need to be talking about what you can do right now to help advance the conversation on climate action, what you can do right now to get involved, and why you should be feeling hopeful about this and why you shouldn't fall into apathy. And I think for me personally, I'm going to take away that, I don't know, I'm just really proud of myself for doing this and being able to represent you all, the student body, at such a massive event. Was kind of crazy. And I'm really proud that I got to do so many things and bring so many of the conversations I've had with you guys out there to now feed back. To end on a nice note, we have reason to still be positive and shouldn't give up hope. Not yet.